Welcome to my first video of F1 2026. No, that's wrong. Welcome to my first video of 2026. It's been a while since I made a video. I'm not going to look exactly how long because it will deeply upset me. One thing has changed since the last time I made a video, and that is... Fuck's... Ow, just burnt myself on the radiator. Just trying to unplug it. And one thing has changed since the last time I made a video, and that is... Ow. I bought a PS3. That's literally it. I bought a PS3. I'm not going to put it down now before I hurt myself again. To those that don't know, I did originally have a PS3 and I was going to record every single F1 career mode to win the championship. I made it 2 episodes into F1 Championship Edition and my PS3 died. So that went well. So for the new year I decided why not treat myself and get a 20-year-old console so I can play even older F1 games. So this will mark the return of F1 Championship Edition. I will be restarting the career because, let's face it, there's not a lot to lose. But I knew I couldn't just dive straight into F1 Championship Edition because it is brutally unforgiving and it's been quite a while since I played it. So I needed to warm up before I even attempted career mode, otherwise I wouldn't succeed and it would be very unpleasant for everyone involved. For some reason I decided my warm-up for this game should be the hardest challenge I could possibly think of. If you're unfamiliar with F1 Championship Edition, it is genuinely the most unforgiving and most punishing F1 game I've ever raced on. So to get ready for career mode, I have decided to torture myself, basically. We're going to be doing a 100% race at Monaco on the hardest difficulty, and we're going to be starting from the back, and we're going to keep doing races until I win the race. Now to those that aren't familiar with the game, that may not sound all too difficult. To those that are familiar with the game, please pray for me. Obviously I'm not going to torture myself too much. We are going to go with the fastest car. I did think about doing it in a Super Aguri as UGE day. I quickly decided against that because cut me some slack here. So here we are on the grid for the first time. It won't be the last, unfortunately. I would love to say I did this in one take, but that would be a horrendous lie. Starting at the back as Fernando Alonso at the Monaco Grand Prix, 78 laps ahead of us. Let's see how far we can make it on our first ever attempt at this challenge. 10 lights, lights out, and away we go. It's been a pretty good start. We're obviously going to be cruising through the field. Initially off the line because these cars are not very good at all. We're going to dive up the inside of turn number 1, up into P17. There's already a car off and I've already destroyed my race. I've hit the back of Massa, broken my wing. I could have gone on, but to be honest, I was so disappointed at myself, I just decided, no, we're not starting like that. An absolutely brilliant first attempt by me. This may take longer than expected. Turn number 2, and let's see if we can make it to turn 2 this time. We've had a arguably worse start off the line, but we've got ahead of Montero, up the inside of several cars into turn number 1. We've been caught on one of the Toyotas, we've taken the wheel off Ralf Schumacher. There's a bollard in the middle of the exit of turn 1, but we've made it further than last time. We have survived the second straight. We've made it to turn 2, up into P15, at the expense of Ralf Schumacher, but let's face it, who cares about Ralf Schumacher? As usual on most F1 games, the AI are quite slow in the opening lap, so we're going to use that to our advantage and catch onto the back of Trulli as we come through the hairpin. Well, we made it further than last time. Attempt number 3, and this is already more difficult than I was expecting. Let's see if we can make it maybe to the tunnel this time, to the chicane. We're going to set up the inside turn number 1. By this point, you know how it goes. Massa is in the wall for a second time. That must be a scripted event, or Massa is just awful. Regardless, it's been a pretty good start by us. We're on the outside of Ralf Schumacher. Let's try and not kill him this time. In reality, I don't really care if I take out the AI, but deliberately taking out the AI is very risky on this game because it's highly likely you'll lose a wheel too. We're going to send up the inside of Clean into the hairpin. We're going to get stuck on Clean into the hairpin and lose a place to Ide, and then get spun out by Clean or Ralf Schumacher or one of them. We've broken our wing and we're just 3 attempts in, and already this was quite tough mentally. I was struggling here. Attempt number 4. I imagine I'm going to send up the inside of turn number 1. I do. There's some carnage, but it's a Toyota again. I think it's Ralf Schumacher for a second time. Massa's in the wall again. There's a punctured, I think that was a Honda, and we've actually had a brilliant start in the P12 thanks to the carnage, somehow surviving turn 1 and Massa and the Honda. I'm going to reserve judgment until I make it through the tunnel, or at least to the tunnel, but so far it's not been a bad start. We've got 2 Red Bulls ahead of us. Hopefully Clean doesn't take me out for a second time in a row. And look at that, we've broken our record. I do want to sound more accomplished and proud of that achievement, but to be honest, I really don't. And as we come through the penultimate corner, still in 12th place, 2 seconds behind the Red Bulls, it looks like we're actually going to complete, you fucking moron.
Turn 14. Is that a Renault going slowly? It's Alonso!
Yeah, throughout this challenge I heard that particular voice line quite a bit, and it really was quite graining. Yeah, I'll be honest, the start of this challenge didn't go well at all, and by the start of the challenge I mean the first lap. It really wasn't going my way at basically any corner whatsoever. This really was a learning experience. Yeah, this opening day, yes, this challenge took multiple days. It really didn't go well. You know, I got a record of getting to lap, what was that, lap 3? But you know, we made it to lap 3 before I imitated the Monaco hero of Charles Leclerc and going into the back of someone into the Nouvelle chicane. Honestly, the highlight of day 1 was when Massa's wheel got catapulted into the air during one of his many crashes on the exit of turn 1. Probably ended up killing someone. I probably shouldn't say that was a highlight. Day 1 wasn't a complete waste of time. Well, it was, but there were some genuine highlights where I was actually relatively competent. As you can see, I'd mastered turn 1, mainly because I had so many goes at it. Massa hadn't mastered turn 1, despite having many goes at it. But despite what I have been showing in this video, I was showing progress. I was improving. I wasn't constantly crashing out on lap number 1. Normally I'd wait till lap 3, maybe even lap 4 if I was feeling particularly competent that day. However, it did get to the point where I was getting quite impatient and angry, which is why I was kind of just pushing people out of the way on lap number 1, which was a horrible spiral because it wasn't at all helping my case, but you know, halfway through lap number 1, despite Clean's best efforts, we are going to survive and make it into the tunnel. And it's actually been a pretty good start as well. We currently sit P14, somehow still behind Albers though. We did learn from our mistakes out of the final corner and realised heavy fuel does actually have an impact on this game, but we're going to be right behind Albers as we come on to lap number 2, get him thanks to the overpowered car we have. Into turn number 1, we almost bin it into the wall, but thanks to the slightly questionable contact model, we're going to survive for a single lap. And by this point I seem to be finding my rhythm. Exactly 1 lap later we're right behind Villeneuve. We're going to send up the inside turn 1 and we're no longer right behind Villeneuve. Up into P13 we go. Nope, up into P12 we go because the graphic isn't updating. But finally now I was starting to learn the limits of this game again. I was starting to get accustomed to it.
There's been a major accident at the swimming pool. That looks like one of the Renaults cruising around the circuit. It's Alonso!
You know, I genuinely really love James Allen, but hearing him yell Alonso every single time I fucked it was really starting to get under my skin. Okay, so I think at this point, I was about an hour in, maybe an hour and a half into attempts. My record was lap 73 I managed to get to. To those bad at maths, that is 5 laps I'd managed to achieve without crashing. So I wasn't in the best of moods, but you couldn't tell by my driving because the opening lap so far has been pretty damn successful. I was really getting sick of passing the Toyotas and the Red Bulls, but I absolutely embarrassed them around the outside of the hairpin. go straight up into P12, and now this is officially the best opening lap I've had. Next up is Barrichello. The issue was I was so angry at this point that I was rushing overtakes, and it was actually overtakes that I was struggling with. I was being extremely aggressive because I kind of had lost the will to live, but we're going to get past Barrichello as we come on to the second lap. We're then going to go into the back of Villeneuve, get a yellow wing, but that's manageable. That's not going to affect our car performance whatsoever. I am happy to continue with that damage. Just for the love of God, please don't do it again. It did seem Pascal decided not to listen to me currently, because I absolutely send it on Villeneuve as we come into the tunnel. We don't get damage, we get the move done, up into the top 10 for the first time. I mean, you can't argue with results. Even though I haven't delivered any so far. Despite being angry, it seemed to be working for me though. On the exit of the final corner, we're going to get the second Sauber of Nick Heidfeld. Up into P9 we go, as we come on to, I'm just going to say lap 74, because I can't be asked to work out what lap I'm on. It's just easier to look at the top and read the number. And we're not going to stop there. It seemed out the final corner was a pretty good overtaking opportunity for me, because AI, at least the cars I was racing, were quite slow in a straight line. Rosberg does give me a run for my money and wheel bangs and actually rudely defends into turn number 1 and then tries to slow down on the exit, but we're going to get him eventually. It was a lot harder than it should have been, but we're into the points. We're into P8. We've got a bit of a gap to close up to the leaders, but we've got some clear air now. It seems like I've got the pace in the car. Let's just hope I can push the car and not fuck it up. That'd be nice. The top 7 were definitely more difficult to catch. They are very clearly a lot quicker than the cars I had been battling all afternoon, but I was slowly catching them. Not as much as I would have liked. The top 4 especially were really pulling away, but I was catching the Hondas off Button, and I've just realised that was Webber I was battling, not Rosberg. You know what? It doesn't matter. I know what's coming. There's been a major accident in the swimming pool. Is that a Renault going slowly? It's Alonso!
Shut up!
Okay, enough of the depressing shit. It's time for my best run of the day. Will this be the run? Will it be the one I complete this challenge? Could I have been just gaslighting you this entire time and it's actually taken me one day? I guess you'll just have to... No. This is going to be another failure, but it is going to be my best run of the day. It's been a fairly average start. As you can tell, I was pretty experienced with the starts by this point. Ignore that. Didn't pick up damage, so it didn't happen. I was still quite frustrated over overtaking the Red Bulls and the Toyotas because, well, they'd taken me out a lot, especially Klein and Schumacher. I wasn't really getting along with the midfield cars. Once again, we're going to make it to the final corner of the opening lap, which is an achievement for us. It looks like we're going to get the Sauber down towards turn number 1, although he's got a pretty good exit out of the final corner. We're going to have to send it on the inside turn number 1, which we do. We don't go into the wall despite our best efforts, and we're up into P11. Next up is going to be the top 10, and it's going to be the Hondas. They're going to fall victim to us one lap later, or at least Barrichello is. We're going to do exactly the same as we did to Villeneuve. Up the inside turn number 1. We then pull an absolutely beautiful move on Nick Heidfeld. You can question the legality of it, but the game allowed it, so it's all legal in my book. It's a beautiful move up in the P9. Next up we've got the Williams of Mark Webber, and I quickly learned during this challenge, the Williams was annoyingly difficult to pass. To be fair, it makes complete sense. They've got Webber and Rosberg, who are Monaco sweats. Webber is going to move quite aggressively to the outside, which is an interesting defensive line, but we're going to go up the inside of the Williams. We have to actually battle him through the corner. Fair play to him, he gave it a go. We're up in the P8. Now I am slightly concerned by this because it's a clip that I am not directly behind a car and I'm going into the final corner. Do I lose it? No, I don't. What's the... Oh, I see what the point of this clip is. It's me absolutely fucking demolishing the fastest lap and catching the field at an alarming rate. It's just to show how brilliant I am. That's a nice change. It's been a while since I've been able to show my competence. That's good. I needed that. Thank you, editing. You I forgot about that. This is not a good look for me. That has not gone well. Okay, attempt 2 of overtaking Mark Webber. It looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the last time. Hopefully a little easier. We do have front wing damage, but again, it's yellow. It's not going to affect us whatsoever. The Williams is weirdly fast in a straight line. We're going to have to send up the inside turn number 1. We are much more aggressive on the brakes, and it's much easier passing Webber this time. Back up into P8 we go, although there is quite an alarming gap between myself and Jenson Button. We jump to the end of lap 68 to mark the record-breaking moment. We've made it to lap 67, and we get the fastest lap as well. We are catching once again. They're still 12 seconds ahead, but we're catching them. That's the important thing. There's a long race to go, and as long as we don't fuck it up, we're still in this. We've got no hope.
This is lap 16.
Hey, we made it to lap 16. Thank you, James.
No problem. Give me a minute. I'll get back to you.
I keep... Do you know what it... Hang on, let me pause for a sec. Do you know what it is? I crashed out in so many ways during this challenge. I genuinely don't remember when I crashed, which is why I'm genuine... Like that, I genuinely had no idea I did that. I genuinely thought this run went to lap, well, in the 50s, maybe even 40s. Apparently I was very, very wrong. How much is left of this day? Apparently I keep going. What a waste of time. Do I recover this? I fucking don't, but let's see what I do. How do I bring this back? Well, luckily, I punctured my car at the perfect time to come into the pit. It's not really an ideal pit entry. I could have saved a bit of time, but we make it to the pit. It's an early stop, but we've made it for our first pit stop of this challenge. It's taken about 2 hours, but we've got our first pit stop. It's actually a pretty good pit stop, all things considered. A 7.5, and you know what? We're not in last place. We're 17th. We're one straight away from being lapped, but yeah, I'm really struggling to think of any sort of positives for me to keep going here. Or do you know, I do make it to the 50s. We make it to lap 20. That's nice. Minimal hope of points, let alone a win. But we're still going. I think this is the moment that I give up by the looks of it. Am I going to give up, or am I just going to sit here and think about what I've done? But after that catastrophic best run of the day, yes, that was the best run of the day. We made it a record distance of 20 laps. Arguably, actually, even less. When did I get the first puncher? We got a record high of P8, which, if you're unfamiliar with F1, is not the race win. But by this point, I thought, you know what? I'm going to call it for today. I'll try again tomorrow. And then I went to bed and cried myself to sleep. So day 2 of this challenge, and I decided I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm going to go with the Ferrari for today. There is a little bit of change within the different cars in this game. The Ferrari, I'm pretty sure, is quicker in a straight line and worse in the corners. So why I picked the Ferrari on day 2... with hindsight, I'm still trying to figure that out, especially because it meant for the initial attempts for day 2 I had to get used to the Ferrari after just getting used to the game and the Renault. But you know, down to turn 1 it's the same as always. We're going to dart the inside of a lot of people. Obviously the grid has changed, so hopefully I won't be battling the Toyotas and the Red Bulls quite as much. It's been a pretty decent start. I say a decent start. We're back to square one, but as always we're gonna keep trying until we... That is a new low for me. I don't know if it was because I was rusty. I say rusty. It had been about 12 hours, but as you can clearly see, the initial runs of day 2 they weren't remotely good. You can see on, I think is this the 3rd or 4th attempt? Well, whatever it is, we're going to be adding another one. So I lasted, I think it was around about maybe 10 attempts at a push before I went, you know what, fuck this, I'm going back to the Renault. So this will be the real test. Am I just having an off day, or was it the car? Can I blame the car? Can I blame the Ferrari? That would be fantastic. We're down to turn number 1. It's a horrendous dive, but it's a successful one. We're up in the P14. We get past both Toyotas. Next up is Coulthard and the Red Bull. We're looking to the outside, turn number 2. It's not going to work out because you can't really outbrake the AI at certain corners in this game because they are ridiculous. But it's been a clean start. So far it's going better than when we were in the Ferrari. So I think we can safely assume that the Ferrari is just absolutely terrible. We're going to do our favourite move around the outside of the hairpin, around the outside of Heinfeld, up the inside of Barrichello, 2 corners later, and as we come into the tunnel, we're up into P10. Also, just as a side note, for day 2 I decided to go for Fisichella, just so that when I crashed, I'd have to listen to something other than "It's Alonso" yelled out by the commentators. Anyway, as we come on to the 3rd lap, we're right behind the Williams of Mark Webber. We're quite far back, but it's not going to stop us making an absolutely horrendous dive into turn number 1, and straight up into P9 we go. Next up is Jenson Button, and as we come around the final corner, a couple laps later, it's an extremely easy overtake. We get a brilliant run out of the final corner, and we're up into the points in record time. My immediate form in the Renault was just further evidence that the Ferrari just didn't work for me, because quite frankly, the second I got in this Renault, I was absolutely flying. Lap 73, I think that's lap 5, maybe lap 6. I'm just going to say lap 73. We're hassling Villeneuve as we come through the tunnel. I say hassling, he's quite far ahead, but in the braking zone at least, we're hassling not the Renault, the Sauber. I'll be honest, I was expecting an overtake there. I don't know why I included that clip. Here we go, into the penultimate corner. We're hassling the Sauber. We think about going up the inside into the penultimate corner. We're going to wait for our favourite overtaking opportunity out of the final corner. We don't lose the back end, and once again, under acceleration, it's an easy move as we go up into P7. We've got one more midfield car in the form of... Surely that's a cut. Yeah, it is a cut. Bollocks. So we're going to have to overtake Villeneuve again, and by the looks of it, it's going to be exactly the same as we did the last time. It's not quite as easy, but one lap later, we're back up into P7, and now... I swear to Christ. It's fine. Okay, that wasn't a penalty. I genuinely thought I did it again then. Because of the weird pace of the Williams at Monaco, it took a couple of laps to catch into the back of the Williams, but it looks like it's going to be another at the final corner overtake. We don't get quite good a run, but it's a Renault versus a Williams. He's given us a good run for our money. We're going to have to actually send out the inside turn number 1. Under braking, he makes contact with me. Typical Rosberg. But we're up into P6, and finally, for the first time, we can go and chase down the front runners. I genuinely don't think I've been able to do that yet. Okay, it's lap 60. I am not near anyone, which is very concerning. So I might do something stupid here. Let's see how it plays out. We've got a pit stop, which is good. I hope it's just the pit stops. Am I going to lose out at the final corner? No, I'm not. It might just be down to the pit stops. I was scared for a second there. I thought I was going to throw it away at the swimming pool section. Okay, a lap later, I am once again not near anyone, which is always concerning. Nope, it's me catching a back marker. Well, that's even more concerning actually, because the back markers on this game, they're not the easiest to overtake, which is what adds to this challenge, because the back markers, especially at Monaco on this damage, arguably the most deadly obstacles you face at Monaco.
I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
You can see, I'm guessing it's E-Day, if I had to make an educated guess, in the Super Uguri. He's not really going too slow, even though he's clearly under blue flags. Yeah, I'll be honest, at this point in my race I was absolutely terrified, and in fact I carry away into the pit. Thank God, thank you so much Renault for calling me in. They knew the danger of UGE Day, and they thought, you know what, let's get him out of there. It's going to be a pretty clean pit stop because I played this game so much that I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a sweat at the pit stops. I'm pretty sure we're still going to be P5, maybe P6. I don't think we would have jumped anyone, but the important thing is we're away from E-Day, we're away from the lap cars. We're somehow P7. I really hope that's because someone hasn't pit yet. A couple laps later, and is this where the pit stops are going to level out? Are we going to be back in our race position? I'll be honest, I've lost track of where exactly we were. I think we're P5 net. I don't know what the point of showing that clip was. We're still... Are we P7? Is it going to update? We're still P7. Lap 52 and we are right behind Kimi Raikkonen. I'm not sure how that's happened, but he is... Actually, that's exactly how it's happened. He's stuck behind a back marker. This is the dangers of the back markers. We hit the back of Raikkonen, we get a yellow wing. It's fine, we can work with that. But this was terrifying. This is the dangers of the back markers, because they don't get out the fucking way, even for the AI, which honestly, in a way, is helpful because we're gonna get Kimi Raikkonen, thanks to the back marker of, I'm guessing again, Yuji Ide. But it does mean we now have to get past the back marker of Yuji Ide. The worst part is when the back markers do slow down, they don't really do it at a good point in the track. Obviously Monaco is hard to get out of the way, but you can see I personally wouldn't do it through the swimming pool section and then dive up the inside of the car that's lapping me at the following chicane. But we managed to muscle our way through. We've survived one back marker. It's only lap 52, we've got plenty more to go. So let's do it again. At this point the back markers are actually helping me because they're holding up the leaders. We've got Alonso and Schumacher stuck behind one of the back markers. They're struggling to pass. Hopefully we can do the same of what we did to Raikkonen. Get past them and then deal with the back marker. Or ideally the back marker just goes into the pit and gets out of the way. That'd be lovely, but I am not confident that is how it's going to play out. I think it's a Midlands car that's in the way. Somehow Schumacher's not hit him out of the way. About at the final corner, we're going to have a look and see if we can get past our teammate Fernando Alonso. We managed to get past the Midlands car as he slows down very nicely for the first time this race. A back marker actually getting out of the way rather easily. And I'll be honest, at this point, I was really starting to think this run was going to be the one. Down to lap 48 and we are right behind Michael Schumacher for P3. We try and have a look at the inside before the tunnel. We're not able to make the move, and it was very optimistic to make a move on that on Michael Schumacher. The important thing is we've survived to try again. I was definitely feeling the top speed of the Ferrari. It was difficult to overtake, but luckily for me, there is another couple back markers, and I don't know how I've managed that, but we've got through so easily, so cleanly. We're up into P3, survived even more back markers, we've got one more ahead of me. The only concerning thing is Montoya is 3.5 ahead, which is it's fine, we can close that gap. Felipe Massa, after his horrid start to this challenge yesterday of constantly crashing out at turn 1, is somehow 16 seconds ahead of the field. Coming to the end of lap number 40 now, and it's time for our second round of pit stops. We've been pushing, trying to catch Massa. We've got the gap down to 8 seconds. There is a chance we could do this, especially with the help of the lap cars. We're going to make our second pit stop. I think it might be my last one. I'll be honest, I can't remember the strategy because the game kind of just gives you a strategy. You don't really get to choose. You could make it up on the fly, but that's extremely dangerous. We're going to hold up Alonso, which honestly is fine. Keep him out of the way. It is quite a slow pit stop by my standards, 8.8. Maybe that was due to me putting more fuel in. I'm not sure if you control it that way. We'll see how much fuel. Yep, we are going to the end. So that was our final pit stop. We come out on P4, behind Montoya, behind Raikkonen, and of course behind Massa. We were 8 seconds behind the race leader. We now have 39 laps to close that gap and complete this challenge. We've basically got no choice whatsoever other than to push like crazy. We can't afford to just relax. We need to close that gap to Massa. If you get stuck behind a lap car, brilliant, but we've also got to get through lap cars, so we can't really rely on that. We go back on to P3, thanks to pit stops. Raikkonen's made his pit stop. Montoya is 2.5 seconds ahead. I think he somehow jumped me. So not only do we have to catch Massa, we have to get past Montoya. Let's get to work. 38 laps to go, and with the heavy fuel, we are simply not catching the cars ahead. Massa has a 30-second gap to me. Yes, he's got to make a pit stop, but we're just not going fast enough to close this gap, which means I had to push relentlessly, lap after lap, to try and close it, to try and go as fast as possible. I needed some little bit of hope that I was actually getting close. Day 3, and I will be staying with the Renault for day 3 because clearly it works better for me. I'll be honest, day 3 was a short one because I did one run. I didn't win. It was going well. I was P3, 58 laps to go. It was pretty standard. You've seen it all before. Me down at the inside turn number 1, overtaking other cars, and then I just lose it at the final corner and then cause complete and utter chaos. That was day 3. I decided I didn't really want to do any more runs on day 3. I just wasn't feeling it. Yeah, that was day 3. Another failure. On to day 4. Okay, day 4. We're going to ignore day 3 because I just wasn't really feeling it. But overall, we have been improving. Again, if you ignore day 3. Day 2, we made it with 37 laps to go. We made it to our final pit stop. We were miles off P1. We were never winning that race anyway, but it was a step in the right direction. Day 4, will this be the final day? Oh, well, I do know, but for the sake of the video, I don't know. Maybe. Let's find out. Yes. Yes, it is. It's lights out, and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix for probably the 15th, maybe 20th time. We're going to send out the inside turn number 1. You know how this goes on the opening lap. We are pretty well experienced with this as it stands on day 4, so I managed to brush off all the mistakes and stupid moves I was making, so we're just going to slowly make our way through the mid-pack, up the inside of Coulthard. As we go towards the hairpin, we do my favourite move, which was going around the outside of 1, maybe 2 cars sometimes at the hairpin, because the cars are so small. You can actually do that on this game. Up the inside of Rosberg, as we come into the tunnel, we're up into P11 straight away. It's been a pretty solid start, and one that I was very well accustomed to. Will we be able to end the opening lap in the top 10? We're right behind Button as we come out the final corner. Again, it's another standard move that we've learned because the AI just aren't very good at getting the run out of the final corner. We don't manage to make it up into P10 before we start the second lap, but we get him into turn number 1, we're into the top 10, Mark Webber's next. Feeling particularly racy on day 4. It seems I was absolutely feeling it today because we stand at the inside of Mark Webber as we come into the tunnel once more, up in the P9, 1 point away from points, and it looks like we're going to get that immediately. At the final corner, it's Nick Heinfeld for P8, a run down to turn number 1, we're going to get him under brakes, and as long as we don't outbrake ourselves and break the car, we easily make the move, we're into the points. Next up, Barrichello. At this point the progress did start to slow a little bit, lap 75 now, or lap 3 technically. It takes us a little while to go into the back of Barrichello, but sending it up the inside of turn number 7, up into P7 now. We've got one more back marker in the form of Jacques Villeneuve to overtake. Then it's on to battle in the top 5. Remarkably, it only took me about half a lap to catch into the back of the Sauber, and judging how this clip has started in the 3rd sector, I imagine I'm going to get him down towards the start-finish straight. We're a little bit further back than we normally are at the final corner, but with a little bit of slipstream, we're going to... We try and send up the inside of turn number 1. We're going to spin out. We manage to avoid damage. We get the fastest lap as well. And then obviously it means absolutely nothing as we come out the first corner. So we're going to drop down to P10 and we're going to have to make the moves up once again. I did consider restarting, but given the form I was in, and I'll be honest, the arrogance I was feeling after some of those overtakes, I had full confidence that I could still do this. Down towards the Nouvelle chicane, we're going to be pushing Mark Webber as we come into the braking zone, almost running into the back of him and picking up damage pretty much immediately after thinking I could still do this. We're going to try on the outside of Tabac, and we make the move around the outside of Tabac, and at that point I thought, this is the run. If I can pull that kind of move off, this is the run. Especially on this game with this damage model, I genuinely don't know how I managed that without, dying. With 72 laps remaining, we've absolutely found our form as we set the fastest lap for the 2nd time this race. 4 tenths faster than our previous best, and we are catching Heinfeld incredibly quickly, 1.6 seconds behind him currently. Obviously there's a bit of a gap to the leaders at this point after the spin, but again, I just For the first time in this challenge, I just had an overwhelming sense of confidence, which is a nice feeling. I don't experience it often. Heading up through turn number 2, 69 laps to go. We are right behind the Sauber for the second time. Obviously Heimfeld isn't the one we had the issues with overtaking, but hopefully we can get this nice and quick. Especially given the pace I seem to have at the moment, I don't want to be caught up behind overtaking cars. I want to be able to just get into clean air and drive away. And it looks like we're going to set up the inside turn number 7 of the Sauber. It's a bit of an awkward overtake, we get caught in the inside wall, but we still managed to do it with the help of acceleration from the Renault engine. And for the second time in this race, we were back up into the points. Next up, Barrichello, and the one that put me here, Jacques Villeneuve. Again, it took us a few laps to catch on to the back of the Honda, but 66 laps to go, soon to be 65. We're on the back of Barrichello as we come into turn number 1. We get a brilliant run through the first corner, and it looks like we're going to try a move around the outside of turn number 2. Very sketchy, very scary, but side by side through turn number 4, we're going to muscle him into the barrier just a little bit. No damage done, and we're going to make the move into P7. Next up, Villeneuve for the second time. Hopefully this time we'll be more successful. Half a lap later, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty classic move from us out of the final corner. The Sauber just isn't very good on acceleration, and hopefully this move is going to be a lot cleaner into turn number 1. We're going to stick to the right hand side this time, and finally we get past Villeneuve nice and clean up into P6. Apparently I should be right next to Montoya based on the timing. I'm not really too sure how that works, but we're definitely not right behind Montoya. There are a couple corners ahead of us, so for the remaining 9 laps of this stint, we've got to try and close that gap. And to keep up this positive mentality that I seem to have, we're going to try and not look at how far ahead the lead Ferrari is. I thought it was going to be a nice, very fast but clean run into the pit stops, but unfortunately we get onto the back of a back marker, which, as we've learnt so far, is not ideal because they're not very good at blue flags. The Toro Rosso wasn't too bad. It was a bit of a sketchy place to slow down, but we get through nice and clean. 59 laps and a straight remaining. It's time for pit stops. Montoya is going to pit first. Up into P5 we go. I'll be pitting in a few more laps, so I've got 3 laps to try and potentially overcut Montoya. A lap later, Massa ends up pitting, so we're going to come into the pit in P4. Realistically, we want to be ahead of Montoya. I don't think we're going to be ahead of Massa. It is Schumacher as the lead Ferrari, but as we come into the pit, it should be a relatively clean pit stop. I'm pretty confident at these pit stops because I've done them so many times, and it is indeed a 7.3 seconds. And judging how Montoya should be running high fuel at this stage, we might actually be able to overcut him. And we actually have. It turns out an overcut is legitimately possible. Just. Now we were getting deeper into the race. On the second stint, it was time to battle the lap cars, but luckily the AI were also battling the lap cars with me. We get onto the back of Massa because he's stuck behind a lap car, or quite a few lap cars by the looks of it. I think Raikkonen's also in this train, and I think I see Alonso too. I think the only person not in this lap car train is Schumacher up ahead, so we're going to try and overtake Massa as we come on to lap number 52. We managed to get Massa, we managed to get Raikkonen because he's still stuck behind the Toro Rosso, narrowly avoiding a penalty through turn number 1. Straight up into P3 we go. I've just remembered that I'm Alonso, and it's Fisichella up ahead. I'm going to leave that in. Later on in the lap through the swimming pool section, Fisichella is stuck behind another lap car, and it means we should be able to take full advantage of this. You can see the lap cars are really helping me out actually, because they've not really caused me too much grief. Unlike my competitors, we're going to try and get Fisichella on the exit of the final corner. The straight, the main straight, the AI, or the lap cars were beautifully obedient, getting out of the way perfectly, and I'm sure Fisichella is yelling some pretty obscene things at me in Italian right now. But with 51 laps to go, we are P2 for, I think, the second time. I think I got to P2 on day 2. But once again, we've got a pretty substantial gap to close up to Michael Schumacher. 17 seconds is the gap. Obviously, we can hope that lap cars really hold him up at some point in this race, but for now at least, it's time to get to work. I'm going to have to do the most terrifying thing you can do in this game, and push like hell at Monaco. It took just a few laps for the backmarkers to massively help me. 46 laps remaining as we cross the line. The gap is down to 13 seconds, 4 seconds already, in I think as many laps. You can see on the map Schumacher definitely got stuck behind the Toro Rosso. He does have a little bit of a gap to the Toyota, but regardless of the backmarkers or not, I was the quickest guy out on track currently. I just had to not throw it away. And honestly, given the 4 miles in currently, I didn't think it was going to happen. It's been a long time since I felt this confident behind the wheel. Mainly because I'm not playing F1 25. Our second stint was extremely successful. 42 laps remaining and we will be coming into the pit at the end of this lap. The gap is 14 seconds to Schumacher. He's opened it up a bit, but we have closed it quite significantly. This will be, I think, my final stop. I think it's a 2-stop. We'll have to see how much fuel I get in the car. It's another absolutely phenomenal 7.2 seconds, which I know to you DTS fans doesn't sound fast. It is on this game. We just got to hope that we don't get caught behind traffic or any back markers, because if we have clear air, which it looks like we're fuck. And annoyingly, we will be stopping again because, well, I don't have enough fuel. It actually worked out quite nicely for me because despite Raikkonen being ahead, because he had such little fuel, I couldn't catch him, which means I could push as much as I liked. Not that I was going that fast, but based on the fuel I had, we were going pretty fast. I wasn't able to catch Raikkonen, so I had clear air. It was working perfectly, and to add to that, as you can see on the map, Schumacher was in a world of pain. I'm fully aware that I will also have to get through that pain relatively soon, but for now at least, things were going well. 37 laps to go and Raikkonen pulls into the pit. Let's see the gap between myself and Schumacher. We've closed the gap to 9 seconds. How much of that is the back markers? How much of that is just my incredible talent? Don't answer that. 35 laps remaining and this was the real test. This was the moment that was going to decide if I could win this race or not. Could I get through the back markers with ease? We get past the Toyota. It's a little slow because he catches the back of me and locks our tyres, but we get through without damage. That's the important thing. 1 down. Admittedly, quite a few to go. Later on in the lap though, we make, I think, arguably our first mistake of the race. Carrying too much speed into the chicane, we're going to cut the corner, pick up a penalty. We're going to purposely block the Toyota because I am not going to try and pass him again. We're going to cheat a little bit, but you know, as a backmarker, I feel like I'm perfectly entitled to do that. I'm definitely not, but fuck it. This is the dangers of the backmarkers, because they don't get out the fucking way. Arguably the most deadly obstacles you face at Monaco. They're not very good at blue flags. If you get stuck by a lap car, brilliant, but we've also got to get through lap cars, so we can't really rely on that.
Say the line, Bart!
There's been an incident at turn 1.
Now, as spectacular and brilliant as that was, and how beneficial it was towards me, it did kind of kill the tension of a last lap fight, or being remotely near to a last lap fight, and it also added a lot more pressure with me now having to deal with lapped cars, especially now that I very much had something to lose. Unfortunately, I was feeling this pressure immediately because we come onto the back of a lap car. I'm pretty sure it's Villeneuve. It could be Heimfeld, I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea. But suddenly being out on the lead and seeing the win within reach, overtaking the back markers was even more terrifying. In the space of just half a lap, it became absolutely terrifying. But we managed to pass the Sauber. We definitely lost a lot of time in the third sector. But 31 laps to go, 4.6 seconds to Michael Schumacher. We do have one more stop to make. I hope for the love of God Schumacher does too. But for now at least, we do have a healthy gap ahead of us. to push like hell, try and increase that gap, and hopefully, ideally, not hit the wall. To the shock of, I'm sure, everyone, I managed to complete my stint without any issues. Obviously we had no lap cars to meet, we didn't find the barriers, we didn't have any corner cuts, and on top of that, we've increased the gap to Michael Schumacher, almost doubled the gap to Schumacher as we come in for our final pit stop. Again, pretty confident about the pit stops, even with the pressure. The pressure was overtaking the lap cars, it wasn't in the pit stops, because as you can clearly see, I've absolutely fucking smashed it. 7.3 seconds, a phenomenal run of consistent pit stops this race. Now, we've got the real challenge of, we've just got to overtake the back markers, and immediately, Super Guri have released their car just ahead of me. That is awful. 23 laps to go, and unfortunately I'm not able to just sit behind these back markers because they're way too slow. I do need to pass them. We unfortunately kept catching the back markers through the third sector, which you just can't overtake, and it's just awful. But on this occasion we managed to survive, and with 22 laps remaining, a lot of the back markers, thankfully, mercilessly, do make a pit stop, as do Schumacher and Fisichella. We retake the lead of the race, we've got a healthy gap ahead of us to just enjoy the clean air. It's going to be a while before we catch into the back of back markers. Raikkonen's right behind me, but he does have another pit stop to make. The only unfortunate thing for me now was, at this point, I was kind of starting to make mistakes. As you can see, as we jump to 7 laps remaining, Schumacher's closed the gap to 1.5 seconds, and I am stuck behind traffic. I'm trying to make the move on the Sauber. It's awkward, we get by, we lose a lot of time, and with Schumacher right behind me, we've managed to pick up damage to the front wing somehow. I was desperately hoping Schumacher was going to get caught behind these back markers as well, and it would at least take some of the pressure off in these final few laps. And just a lap later, thankfully, that's exactly what happened. Schumacher gets stuck behind the Sauber. We managed to get past the Williams with an absolutely beautiful move, albeit on a lap car. But with Schumacher getting caught up in the back markers, the pressure was off. We could just not fully relax, but relax a little bit. We didn't have to stress about overtaking the back markers because we weren't being caught anymore. Schumacher, I honestly don't know what happened to Schumacher. He massively dropped off, even out of the 10-second window. But who cares? The important thing is we're 5 laps away from victory after 4 days. And here we go, we're going to come on to lap number 78, the final lap of this challenge. All we've got to do now is not crash. We've got a Super Aguri ahead of us, we've actually got both Super Aguris ahead of us. The only pressure right now is everything that I was putting on myself. All I had to do was not put it in the wall. It could all end in just one corner. I was especially stressed because, well, obviously the lap car ahead of me, you can see I'm actually easing off now to not have to overtake him, but the amount of times I'd crashed out of the final corner, I wasn't going to relax until I'd crossed that line. You can see into the final corner we go now. We're right behind the Super Aguri. We're not ever going to try for a move. We're going to ease off completely, enjoy the final few meters of this challenge as we win the Monaco Grand Prix from last on the grid. Is that a Renault winning the race? Take it away, James.
It's Alonso!
I did actually end up including every single attempt in this video, so you'll be able to go back and work out how many times I tried this race. I don't remember, but it took me 4 days. It was definitely a very fitting warm-up to F1 Championship Edition. I definitely could have picked an easier challenge to warm up. You know, upon saying that, I've realised it wasn't really a warm-up, it was more a baptism of fire. But we've done it. The hardest possible challenge I could think of, and I never want to do that again. But as I've been saying this entire video, that was just the warm-up. I don't know why I picked that as the warm-up. I'm clearly, well, there's something severely wrong with me. But I now feel ready to conquer F1 Championship Edition Career Mode. So I will be back for hopefully more consistent content. F1 Championship Edition Career Mode will be returning and restarting. Maybe I'll return to F1 25 as well, but, you know, If you don't want to see that, that's fine. I don't have to make content on F125. If you guys really don't want to, that's absolutely fine with me.